Robyn and Kody had a very long courtship compared to the rest of us.
And I'm talking to her like we've known each other our whole lives.
It started like a fairy tale, long gazes, secret conversations, and a courtship that dragged on for nearly a year. But according to Janelle Brown, what looked like love might have actually been a warning sign.
It is not really appropriate for a married man to have a long courtship.
Behind the scenes, whispers were already swirling that something about Robyn and Kody's extended romance just didn't sit right. And now for the first time, Janelle is putting words to what viewers have felt for years. She's calling it out. Kody's courtship with Robyn wasn't just different, it was inappropriate.
If I had a year with Kody, I'm not sure I would have married him, honestly.
Ooh.
So,
in a new interview that's already setting off alarm bells, Janelle reveals that while the rest of the wives were swept into marriage in a matter of weeks, Robyn got the slow burn one-on-one fairy tale, and no one else was allowed to question it. She's even admitting that if she had experienced that same drawn-out courtship, she might never have married Kody at all. So was it love? Or was it manipulation masked as romance?
I might have seen him for a little bit more who he was, you know what I mean? Gotten sort of off the charm route.
Why was Robyn the only one granted patience, privacy, and a polished love story, while the others were tossed into the chaos of plural marriage? And what else about their secretive early days did TLC keep off camera? What Janelle just revealed might completely reframe the origin story of the favorite wife. And if she's right, then the signs were there from the very beginning. Because rumor has it that candlelit courtship rolled on for nearly 12 months, an eternity in Brown family time.
It's like serendipitously beautiful. It's like all of a sudden, there's nobody but us on the dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
Christine's whirlwind? All of 21 days. Mary's? A few Sunday dinners, and she was pinning veil fabric. Sources allege Kody quietly begged TLC for grace, insisting the blossoming connection required privacy to nurture something sacred. Translation: a near-total camera blackout, while tempers in the original household simmered off-screen. Fans only saw quick montages, but insiders whisper phone calls stretched past midnight. Road trips without chaperones became the norm, and Robyn's kids were already stocking Kody's favorite snacks in their pantry. Unverified scenes the network never aired. Even then, Janelle remembers feeling a tug in her gut that something was off. Yet the production train barreled forward, selling sparkles instead of smoke. And that is where the fairy tale's gloss begins to crack.
Regardless, I don't need to go back and trash everything that was or happened.
Because the very next move, coming faster than anyone expected, threatened to expose a romance that may have been too long for comfort. Whisper it softly, but that single slow-motion year, what insiders now dub the long 12 months that changed everything, is where the story veers from dreamy to dizzying. By every plural marriage playbook the Browns once claimed to follow, courtships were supposed to sprint. Introductions, blessings, then wedding bells, often before anyone had time to second guess. Yet, rumor has it, the Robyn chapter started in early autumn of 2009 and kept rolling through late summer of the next year. Its milestones ticked off like secret anniversaries no one else was invited to celebrate. 6 months in, sources allege Kody was already sneaking 3-hour drives to Robyn's rental, packed with homemade picnic baskets and privacy please phone calls to the crew. Calls that, unverified though they remain, allegedly ramped up just as family tensions flared back home. Production schedules say the whispers bent around this forbidden romance. One field producer supposedly complained that each delay cost thousands upon thousands of dollars, yet TLC still dimmed the lights and pointed the cameras elsewhere. The result? By the time Kody floated the idea of bringing Robyn into the family on air, he and his future fourth wife had been trading handwritten love letters for more than 3 seasons of the show's filming calendar.
If I were to say, oh, I'm really sorry I did all that, would I be in this great place? No.
No.
I'm here for it.
Allegedly, some of those letters made it to the network's vault, tucked alongside early footage where Robyn's kids greet Kody with practiced dad squeals, moments viewers never saw. Fast forward to early spring of 2010, and the pair's secret engagement rings, yes, plural, had already been resized twice, insiders whisper, because Kody's nerves kept changing the plan. The man who once prided himself on decisive proposals to Mary, Janelle, and Christine suddenly wanted perfection. Just the right ring, just the right moonlit proposal, just the right camera angle. Every delay deepened speculation back in Lehigh, where Christine allegedly confided that the family felt like extras in their own show. But the real jolt came when Kody finally told producers he was driving off alone to Wyoming for a spiritual ceremony no camera would capture. And that off-grid wedding decision, dear friend, is the domino that sends the next scandal clattering. Because once that secret vow was whispered under wide-open skies, the Browns' carefully balanced house of cards began to shudder in ways no edit could disguise. But behind the scenes, that fairy tale was carefully scripted to perfection. So perfect, in fact, that insiders whisper viewers never saw the real sparks flying. Rumor has it, TLC excised early disagreements, clipped out moments when Robyn's quick smile turned to a tense pause, and traded raw reactions for glossy montages of candlelit walks. Crew members allegedly bristled at directives to keep it pretty, with one field producer later grumbling that the network buried half the drama to sell a Cinderella arc.
It is not really appropriate for a married man to have a long courtship. So they actually courted, I think, for almost like a year.
Meanwhile, original tapes, unverified whispers say, sit boxed in a vault, labeled only Robyn and Kody lost cuts. Snippets of off-camera frustrations and sideways glances that might rewrite the romance narrative if they ever surfaced. Sources allege those hidden reels capture everything from Robyn's nervous laughter when cameras rolled unexpectedly to Janelle's veiled tension in background shots no one was meant to notice. A production assistant supposedly recalled overhearing an editor declare, "We can't show her doubt," before slicing away 2 full days of footage where Robyn reportedly questioned her place in the family dynamic. Then there were the clandestine crew calls, late-night strategy sessions about angle adjustments and mood lighting, all designed to mask the uneven balance of power playing out off-screen. In the polished episodes, viewers were treated to flawless first kisses and dream car drives. In reality, insiders whisper those kisses were often retakes, and those drives were peppered with silent arguments the network refused to air. And if even a fraction of those unseen moments ever leak, they could shatter the polished myth forever. Because once the editing bay doors swung open, the story of Robyn and Kody's fairytale courtship might look less like a romance and more like a carefully curated performance, with one wife's real feelings left on the cutting room floor. What mysteries linger in that vault? And who will have the courage to pull back the curtain and let truth spill across our screens? The next revelation is poised to hit harder than any rose petal montage could prepare us for. Janelle's regret years later hits like a court docket of second thoughts. Fast forward to today, and the 56-year-old mom of 6 confesses that slow-burn courtships aren't romantic so much as risky. She didn't mince words when she told host Sukanya Krishnan, "It is not really appropriate for a married man to have a long courtship," and then drop the bombshell, "If I had a year with Kody, I'm not sure I would have married him, honestly." Rumor has it she meant every syllable, especially after nearly 30 years together ended in that headline-making split of 2022. Sources allege Janelle now sees that year-long pause not as patience, but as a curtain pulling back on what none of the other wives ever got. Privacy, exclusivity, a gilded preview before the real spotlight hit.
The kind of safety combined with just the depth of connection, she's very vulnerable.
Unverified whispers say she joked off camera that more time might have shown me all sides of him, not just the charm ride he offered. Even Christine, insiders whisper, later admitted she was disgusted with myself for letting that special treatment slide without questioning why Robyn got the red carpet treatment while Mary and she watched from the wings. And yet, Janelle treads carefully. She's not rewriting her entire history, just pointing to an elephant in the plural marriage room, where Mary was married in mere weeks, and Christine barely had time to hang a dress. Robyn enjoyed almost 12 secret months of candlelit distance, private calls, and perfectly angled proposals. No official confirmation exists that producers staged any of it, but plenty of eyebrow-raising questions about editing agendas and behind-the-scenes favors swirl in fan forums and production hallways alike. Now, standing on the far side of heartbreak, Janelle teases that hindsight is both healer and haunter, that slow romance set a tone none of the others ever got to rewrite. If her regret is this sharp and this public, what does it say about every hushed moment Robyn spent off-camera waiting, watching, and perhaps outlasting everyone else's shot at the family throne? Next up, we dive into the money moves behind the curtain, where whispers say finances and favors converged in ways no one saw coming. Cash, courtship, and calculated moves often speak louder than whispered vows. Insiders whisper that Robyn's slow-burn romance wasn't just about stolen kisses in the moonlight. It was a financial handshake disguised as a fairy tale. Rumor has it the extended 12-month courtship gave Robyn leverage to secure a $1,650,000 5-bedroom home in Flagstaff with the family's backing, a property Janelle notes was listed for sale this past August, after everyone pitched in, except she suggested all their names go on the mortgage, and Kody balked, claiming he had to protect Robyn's estate. Sources allege Janelle even funneled proceeds from her Las Vegas home sale into Robyn's down payment funds she was told would circle back to the other wives if the plural marriage unraveled, a promise that never materialized.
And I was at the time, and there was a depth of connection that I do not believe I have ever had.
Meanwhile, unverified chatter circles around $820,000 sunk into 4 parcels on Coyote Pass land, debts that kept mounting even as Robyn's settlement stabilized. Fans who track every public record noticed the Browns were once on 4 mortgages: Robyn's mansion, Christine's former house, and 2 Coyote Pass loans, yet only Robyn's name got VIP treatment. Rumor has it, private loan documents show Robyn's school tuition and her children's extracurriculars were covered by Kody in discreet checks, while Meri and Christine scrambled to pay down family debt on their own. Even Kody admitted he basically had a fleet of cars and spent lavishly on art and decor in Robyn's home, though he claimed those purchases came from elsewhere in the shared account. Whispers of a secret asset protection plan swirl through production hallways. Scripted scenes of unity masked behind-the-scenes memos directing editors to erase any discussion of money, as if cash were the ultimate fourth sister wife. Then there's the alleged windfall from a later sale. Robyn and Kody reportedly flipped that Arizona mansion for $1,700,000, netting $885,000 in profit, only to plow it into a brand new $2,100,000 estate with a 30-year loan scheduled to wrap in 2054 moves that leave original wives asking who's really bankrolling this show. With every dollar traced back to that drawn-out courtship, motives start to look less romantic and more strategic. Who truly paid the price for this perfect love story, and what will surface when those buried bank statements see the light of day? The next revelation may cost more than anyone imagined. From the moment she joined, Robyn didn't just blend into the family, she glided in, escorted by a kind of favoritism that had the other wives trading side-eyes behind the scenes. It wasn't just the time Kody gave her, it was the way he gave it. While Meri, Janelle, and Christine juggled group dates, rushed marriages, and shared holidays filled with chaos, Robyn received solo getaways, full attention, and private birthday dinners captured in soft focus. Fans have long noted that in season after season, Robyn's screen time nearly doubled that of the other wives. One social media sleuth tallied it at over 55%, with Meri trailing at barely 20%. That's not just a narrative choice, it's a signal, and it traces directly back to that so-called slow romance. Insiders whisper that Robyn's patience paid off with perks no other wife dared request. When the family moved to Flagstaff, Robyn allegedly got first pick of the homes, with the most square footage and a personal home office, even as Christine's kitchen had a broken oven and Janelle's backyard was nothing more than gravel. Kody, too, made his preferences plain. Rumor has it, he once told production that Robyn was the only one who truly gets me, a line never aired but allegedly overheard during a mic check. And when COVID-19 lockdowns hit, he reportedly quarantined exclusively with Robyn's family for weeks, citing risk management, a move Christine later called devastating during a reunion taping. Even Robyn's kids seem to have direct access to Kody that the others didn't. Unverified whispers claim he attended nearly every parent-teacher conference for Robyn's children while missing milestone events for Janelle's and Christine's. The other wives were left to explain absences with rehearsed smiles. What had started as a year-long romantic grace period now looks suspiciously like a long audition for the role of lead wife, a position Robyn seemed to win before the curtain even rose. So was the favoritism an accident of deeper love, or was it structured from the very start? The next layer cracks open the emotional fallout between the sister wives, and it might explain why some never recovered from the shift. What came next wasn't a blowout. It was a slow unraveling, quiet but brutal. The kind of grief that settles into daily life like dust you can't quite sweep away. Viewers saw the cracks, but what they didn't always catch was how deep they ran between the sister wives themselves. While Robyn flourished in her new role, stylized confessionals, coordinated holiday decor, private time with Kody, the others were left clutching memories of a family dynamic that no longer existed. Meri's interviews grew lonelier, her tone increasingly flat as she recounted trying to feel included. In one now famous episode, she admitted she hadn't shared a bed with Kody in over a decade. "We're just friends," she said. But insiders whisper she was still hoping the tide would turn. It never did. Christine's shift was sharper. Behind the scenes, crew members allegedly witnessed breakdowns between takes, Christine reportedly crying in her trailer after filming family dinners where Kody never made eye contact. Sources allege she requested counseling multiple times, hoping to mend the emotional chasm growing between herself and both Kody and Robyn, but those requests were put on hold for schedule reasons. Then came the family therapy pitch. Rumor has it, TLC toyed with the idea of bringing in a licensed counselor for a multi-episode arc, but according to a former producer, the idea was shut down internally for fear it would make Robyn look too privileged and the others too broken. That never-aired proposal might have been their last chance to hit reset. And Janelle? The one who always called herself independent, even she began to pull back. In confessionals, she remained diplomatic, but sources claim she'd begun quietly scouting real estate months before her eventual separation. One insider swears she told a crew member, "I'll never live in the same house as Robyn again, not out of hate, but out of weariness." Years of subtle slights, lopsided attention, and being told to be patient while someone else enjoyed exclusivity had worn her down. 3 out of 4 wives eventually walked, not in flames, but in silence. And if you listen closely to what they're finally saying, it's clear they didn't leave all at once. They started leaving the day that courtship dragged past week 12. The next twist? Viewers are putting the puzzle pieces together, and they are not keeping quiet about what they're finding. The fans have always been vocal, but lately their whispers have turned into roars. Across social media, Reddit threads, and YouTube comment sections, longtime followers of sister wives are connecting the dots, and what they're piecing together paints a much darker origin story than the one TLC served. Collider's recent Where Is She Now? Dive into Robyn's elusive public presence stirred the pot, suggesting that even though she's still technically in the family, her near-total silence may be more about optics than privacy. That article, paired with Screen Rant's piece, hinting at strained ties with Mary, has fans rewatching early episodes with a whole new lens, and they're not liking what they see. Across hashtags like Reclaim the Narrative and Justice for Christine, viewers are demanding answers. They've launched online petitions urging TLC to release unaired footage from Kody and Robyn's early courtship footage, that if it exists, could either exonerate the romance or blow it wide open. One fan-created side-by-side video even compared the editing styles used for Robyn's introduction versus Christine's wedding prep, and noted over a dozen moments where Robyn's facial expressions were visibly softened or edited to match a more flattering tone. Allegedly, nothing confirmed, but the pattern is hard to ignore. And now there's growing pressure on TLC itself. Several fan blogs claim the network's inbox is flooded with demands for a tell-all spin-off, one where the original wives, not just Robyn, get to narrate their own timelines unfiltered and uninterrupted. The call isn't just for gossip, it's for truth. Because if what Janelle said is even half true, then the original Sister Wives story might have been manipulated from the jump to sell Robyn as a savior, not a catalyst. So why now? Why are fans pushing harder than ever to unravel what they've coined the Robyn rebrand? Maybe it's the weight of hindsight, maybe it's a hunger for fairness, or maybe, just maybe, people are tired of love stories that leave 3 out of 4 women heartbroken. The tension is reaching a boiling point, and the next claim to emerge could finally tip the balance. Because what if this slow romance was actually a fast track to control, hidden in plain sight all along? If the timeline felt suspicious before, this next twist might send chills down your spine. According to unverified accounts circulating among production-adjacent insiders, Robyn's children were already calling Kody dad, well before their spiritual wedding in late 2010. That may not sound scandalous at first glance, until you remember that the Brown family had always emphasized gradual introductions, careful blending, and respect for existing parental ties. But in this case, the pace allegedly wasn't slow at all. It was accelerated behind closed doors, with insiders whispering that Kody was acting like a stepfather within weeks of their first meeting. Sources claim that in the months leading up to the wedding, Robyn and her kids began spending more time off-camera with Kody than any other branch of the family. Weekend visits turned into overnight stays, and some production crew reportedly raised concerns about how quickly the dynamic was shifting. One former assistant allegedly told a fan blog, "It felt like we were watching a family already in motion, not one forming." And yet, on air, viewers saw only polite distance and gentle courtship, a carefully edited slow dance that gave the illusion of deliberation. That illusion, Janelle now hints, was never quite real. Her recent comments, particularly the part where she confessed that a long courtship would have changed her decision entirely, gain new weight in this light. Because if Robyn's kids had already bonded with Kody, if the emotional ties had been fast-tracked under the radar, then the extended courtship wasn't a romance. It was a strategy. One that made Robyn and her children indispensable before the other wives even had time to question the closeness. Even more telling, some fans allege they've spotted early footage where Robyn's youngest slips and refers to Kody as dad before the wedding, clips TLC may have quietly trimmed from later cuts. There's no official confirmation, but once again the pattern is there. The timeline doesn't match the story we were told, and as each thread gets tugged, it becomes clearer that this wasn't just a different love story. It might have been a fully orchestrated takeover, and the final piece of that puzzle is the way it all began. Because if what Janelle says is true, then the ending we got was written into the opening scene, and that scene is about to be rewritten. Now, with Janelle's words echoing louder than ever, the entire origin story of Robyn and Kody's too-long romance starts to feel less like a fairy tale and more like a blueprint, one meticulously drawn before the cameras ever started rolling. If Robyn received a year of courtship, private time, and emotional anchoring before being woven into the family, then that wasn't just romance, it was a quiet restructuring, a shift in power, a subtle but seismic transfer of Kody's focus, affection, and authority into one household before the rest even realized what was happening. Looking back, it's all there. The prolonged courtship that broke the family's norm, the edited footage that smoothed over tension, the early financial accommodations, the rapid integration of children, and the quiet withdrawals of the other wives who realized too late that the rules had changed and they hadn't been consulted. It wasn't just that Robyn became the favorite, it's that the game was seemingly redesigned to ensure she would be. And now, over a decade later, Janelle is daring to say it aloud. Not in anger, but in clarity. Not to tear Robyn down, but to finally be honest about what all those subtle shifts added up to. The extended courtship wasn't a romance for the ages. It was, as Janelle puts it, not appropriate. And that phrase, so measured, so careful, is the thread that unravels everything. Because if one wife had seen that same side of Kody for a year, she might have walked away, which means perhaps the rest didn't stay because they loved him more. They stayed because they never got to truly see him at all. And that's the heartbreak, that what was sold as sacred might have been strategic, that what looked like love could have been leverage, and that the first cracks in the Brown family weren't born in the final season. They were laced into the very foundation. So now we ask you, was Robyn's year-long romance with Kody a sign of true love, or the earliest clue that something was deeply off? And if Janelle is only just speaking now, what else still hasn't been said? Be sure to like, subscribe, and stick around. The next video on your screen is waiting, and trust me, you won't believe what's coming next.